Do you ever wonder about what that gospel text means when it says we tend to prefer the darkness rather than the light and run from the light? Well, I think there are certain times when light is not our friend. For example, take those mirrors. They're often double-sided mirrors that enlarge every pore, every wrinkle. You turn on the light and wow, there are age spots magnified that you swear belong to somebody else. I tell you, I prefer the darkness. That is an unfriendly light. Or how about this example? When I lived in Jersey City during my year of internship, I lived in an apartment building that had hundreds more rodents and insects living in it than people. It became much easier for me to find my way in the dark than to turn on the light and to see the cockroaches scurrying for cover. Sometimes it's the same way with a tough conversation. We'd rather end the conversation and head for the door than to turn on the light, so to speak, and take a good, hard look at ourselves, at our relationships, our habits, our insecurities. You get the idea. Light exposes things that we don't want to see, plain and simple. In our gospel lesson for today, we hear a whole lot about light and darkness. This gospel story actually begins in the dark. We heard how, just part of the story, it's part of the larger story of Nicodemus in chapter 3, where Nicodemus comes to Jesus under the cover of night. Get some clarification about who this Jesus was. Jesus had just entered into the temple where he had overturned the tables. He had shooed out the sheep and the cows with a whip along with the money changers. And the Jewish leaders are not happy with him at this point. Yet Nicodemus, a Jewish leader, a Pharisee, is convinced by Jesus' actions that he is a teacher who has come from God. So Nicodemus slips out into the dark and has this meandering conversation with Jesus about birth and spirit and light and belief. Their conversation winds around to this conclusion that we heard about God loving the world so very much, about this all-inclusive whosoever believeth in him. About God's desire not to condemn, but to save. About sending light into the world, this world that is so hostile. And about people who love darkness so much. In this conversation, Jesus is asking Nicodemus to believe, to trust him, to start anew. Jesus is asking Nicodemus to come out of the darkness and risk the light. Jesus is asking Nicodemus to enter into the hard work of trusting him, of following the way. No wonder Nicodemus walked away baffled back into the night. Jesus was calling him to do so much more than believe a certain set of facts about Jesus or recite a sinner's prayer or some such thing. Jesus is calling him to fall in love and to stay in love. To believe, after all, is to be love. These words at their root are connected. Historian Diana Butler Bass points out that the English word believe comes from the German word belieben, the German word for love. To believe is not to hold a set of opinions or to hold a set of facts even. To believe is to treasure, to hold something beloved, to give your heart over to something without hesitation, without reservation. To believe in something is to invest in it with your love. That's true of the ancient languages of the Bible as well. When the writers of the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament wrote about faithfulness, they were not writing about an intellectual surrender to factual truth. They were writing about fidelity and trust and confidence. As they saw it, to believe in God was to place their full confidence in God, to throw their whole lives, their whole hearts and minds and bodies into God's hands. To believe is to love, to treasure, and to trust God with your whole heart, with your whole selves, with your whole life. And that is so hard for humans. We would rather scurry off into the darkness. We would rather go our own way. For some reason, and it isn't logical, we run from the truth that hurts. Whether that's shining a light on our unhealthy cravings, or our refusal to love, or our resistance to change, or aversion, that's the word I want, aversion to difference, our addiction to judgment, our indifference to suffering, our fear of the other, all of that boils down to our reliance on human kingdoms rather than trusting in a loving God, rather than a wholehearted dependence on God's mercy. Yet God so loved the world, right? That into that hostility, God sent his son, not to condemn, but to save. God took the most horrific instrument of death and transformed it at great cost for the purposes of resurrection and life. That is the God we need. That is the God we love. That is the God we give our heart to. And that is the God we run away from. And even though we scurry off into the darkness, God sends the light. God sends the true light into the world. The light of the world brings healing, right, in its forgiveness. This light brings life. This light shines in the darkness. And the light can't do what it does, and Jesus can't do what Jesus promises to do without our being exposed. Without our being exposed as completely human and completely, entirely in need of that light of grace and mercy and forgiveness. Oh, we run, we hide, we deny. But you see, God is tenacious. God's love is tenacious. And so God's love will continue to chase after you, seeking to hold on to you and redeem you all the days of your life, whether you like it or not. Maybe this story will say it better than I can say it. The runaway bunny. Once there was a little bunny who wanted to run away. So he said to his mother, "I'm running away." "If you run away," said his mother, "I will chase after you, for you are my little bunny." "If you run after me," said the little bunny, "I will become a fish in a trout stream and I will swim away from you." "If you become a fish in a trout stream," said his mother, "I will become a fisherman and I will fish for you." "If you become a fisherman," said the little bunny, "I will become a rock on the mountain high above you." "If you become a rock on the mountain high above me," said his mother, "I will become a mountain climber and I will climb to where you are." "If you become a mountain climber," said the little bunny, I will be a crocus in a hidden garden. If you become a crocus in a hidden garden, said his mother, I will be a gardener and I will find you. If you are a gardener and find me, said the little bunny, I will be a bird and I will fly away from you. If you become a bird and fly away from me, said his mother, I will be a tree that you come home to. If you become a tree, said the little bunny, I will become a little sailboat and I will sail away from you. If you become a sailboat and sail away from me, said his mother, I will become the wind and blow you where I want you to go. If you become the wind and blow me, said the little bunny, I will join the circus and I will fly away on a flying trapeze. If you go flying on a flying trapeze, said his mother, I will be a tightrope walker and I will walk across the air to you. If you become a tightrope walker and walk across the air, said the little bunny, I will become a little boy and I will run into a house. If you become a little boy and run into a house, said the mother bunny, I will become your mother and catch you in my arms and hug you. Shucks, said the bunny. I might just as well stay where I am and be your little bunny. And so he did. Have a carrot, said the mother bunny. That is grace. God is going to love you, like it or not. God is going to love the whole world, like it or not. We might as well stay in the light, take in the love, and pass it on. Amen.